and welcome to Larissa's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making another version of that lunchtime staple, sandwich bread. This time we're going to be making multigrain bread. And just like all the breads we've made in the past, this one's going to go together in much the same way. Okay, so what's in our sponge? It's just 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of wheat gluten, 2 packages of instant dry yeast, and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Now all this is going to go in our mixing bowl and get mixed up with 2 cups of warm water. This is about 120 degrees. 1/4 cup of a mild vegetable oil. This is canola oil. And 1/4 cup of a sweetener. Now I've tried several different sweeteners with this recipe and the Blue Agave does seem to work the best. After this is all mixed together, we're going to have to add in our multigrains. For that, we need 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour, 1/2 cup of rye flour, and 1 cup of 10-grain hot cereal mix. Now, you want to make sure that you get the 10-grain hot cereal mix and not the 10-grain bread mix, because Bob's Red Mill does make both. Okay, first we are going to go ahead and mix the liquid and the water and the oil in. We're just going to do this by hand. All right, now our sweetener. Okay, and also by hand. All right, and now we can go ahead and put this on the mixer. Okay, the reason we mix this by hand first is because if we just dumped everything in here and then turned the mixer on, flour would fly everywhere. So we've got it mixed by hand. Now we're going to go ahead and turn it on to low, or setting number 3 if you have numbers. Okay, this has been mixing for about 4 minutes. We want to make sure that we give it enough time to completely activate all the yeast and dissolve the salt. Now we need to get our multigrains in a bowl. Now I like to use a flexible bowl for this because it makes it easier to pour this into the mixer while it's running. Okay, and then we just want to give this a stir, and we can just use the dough hook, doesn't matter. Okay, with the mixer on low, we're going to go ahead and just pour this all in, and we've still got the paddle attachment on. Okay, now we're going to turn this up to 2. Okay, this has just been mixing for about 1.5 minutes. We're going to go ahead, take this off the mixer, scrape down the sides, add another 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and change over to the dough hook. All right, and this we want to knead on just 2. Okay, you can see that the bowl is pretty clean. Now I need to check this to make sure that we've got enough flour in there. If it's still sticky, we need to add a little bit more. So let me go ahead and feel this. No, this actually feels pretty good. This has come out clean. Now we do need to let the mixer knead it for a little while longer. This should probably knead on 2 in total for about 10 minutes. Okay, this is ready to go. We're going to go ahead and take it over to the granite and knead it on a dry surface just to get it into shape. Okay, that's in a nice ball. I'm just going to put it into a greased bowl. We're going to grease one side and then the other. Okay, this is going in my unheated oven. Now, I did have a pan of simmering water in there, so there's some heat and a little bit of moisture. And that's what this bread needs to proof in. Okay, we're going to let this rise for an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and punch this down, redistribute the bubbles, and then get it into shape for this loaf pan. Okay, now I am using a full-size loaf pan. You could either use 2 smaller loaf pans or even 3 mini loaf pans. Okay, and this loaf pan has been treated with some non-stick cooking spray. Alright, so we're just going to get this in here, and then this is going to go back into my unheated oven. That pan of warm water is still in there, that'll be fine. We'll probably leave it in there for about 50 minutes. Okay, we're going to preheat this oven to 375 degrees. I do have my convection oven on. This is going to bake for 35 minutes. Now this will spring a little bit higher in the oven. Okay, we're going to depan this right away because we don't want this to steam at all. Otherwise it could cause this loaf to collapse. Now, we have to wait at least a half an hour. An hour would be better before we can cut into this and taste it. Okay, we're getting ready to taste this bread. Now, it would actually be better if we waited until tomorrow to cut into it. Fresh bread is almost impossible to cut straight. But anyway, here we go. Oh, that crust is so crisp. Delicious. Water in there. We're going to let this rise until this is domed. Oops.